Your Rick Smith Academies are all over the United States now. Why come to Oakland University?
Well, of all places, I felt that Oakland University was one of the main places I should have my academy. You know, we started at Treetops as the very beginning. We've built a few around the country, but not too many, because I want to be able to get to the academies I'm associated with and spend time with the staff, spend time with the people. And with Oakland, after building 18 holes here on the Scharf course, we built that years ago and then built this huge short game area. Since then, the university's built a beautiful clubhouse, and for me it was like a natural, because I'm in and out of Detroit all the time. I'm heading over to Asia quite often, and I'm traveling throughout, and I still obviously live, my roots are Michigan, big time. And obviously at Treetops, which is way up north, so to speak, 3.5 hours north of here, it was a natural to be here. This is kind of a second home for me. And so I really look forward to the opportunity to be here, because I think the facility's great. I think we can really do some great programs here.
Now, you mentioned that you have several facilities. I know you're down in, oh gosh, Naples, Florida, and
Sure.
I saw California net. Now, do you train some of the PGA pros for some of the Rick Smith tips to make sure that your brand is being treated right?
Well, that's one of the reasons that I don't have a lot of academies, because I want to make sure there's continuity with my teachers, and that we're all communicating and we're understanding that we're teaching the same concepts, yet maybe communicated a little bit differently, which is fine. That's communication, and you have to have a lot of ways to do that. But you do have to have core fundamentals that are consistent with all your teachers, and that's allowed us to really, I think, have the brand protected, to know that these guys are really good teachers and we correspond constantly on things. So I think that's important, that there is continuity for sure.
Now, you talked about a lot what players can do to be right. You're staying positive rather than this is what everybody's doing wrong. What is if you can have one or two things that somebody comes by to see you do? I mean, what is the one thing you want them to take away from a lesson? Is it the stance? Is it something they're doing?
It's basically what their main problems are. I typically like to give each person their own plan for what their problem is, not necessarily what the other guy next to you's problem is. And so what we do is we try to get that person to understand their weakness. We give them many drills and thoughts to get out of those problems, and we get them to understand it clearly, so when they're practicing they have a good idea of exactly what they have to do. So I think that's really more of an assignment of giving each person what they need.
The Scharf, I love the course. It's not because you're standing here, I love it. And what were you trying to accomplish with this course? I mean, I know you always have to work with a piece of land, the DNR and all that kind of thing, but I mean, what are some holes that stand out that make it a Rick Smith signature course?
I think one of the things you look at first is variety of holes, and I think we have that. We have some long par 4s, we have some drivable par 4s, which I love in golf. We have reachable par 5s, we've got par 3s that are different distances, and I think that's the first thing we do. And then we try to go out and look at the land and study how we can best accomplish those goals. You know, where the long holes are, where the short holes are, the sequencing of the holes. And this land was so spectacular that really the challenge was to go out and find the best holes that were already here and then build around that. And I think we did that.
Is there a couple holes that stand out, like you can say, you know what, this is a hole I'm truly proud of?
I think I'm proud of all of them. I mean, seriously, I mean, when you look at a course, you never want to build a bad hole. And I think even in your connection holes, you've got to make those great holes. I think one of the things that I found is that I have a sense of great northern Michigan here, with views and some real drama with the different grasses that we have, with the fescues that came back in the early 1900s that you still now see at Marion and Shinnecock and all around the great courses of the world. You see elements of that here, and I think you see that when it's firm and fast, the ball rolls, and the ball rolls on the green. It's really built where there's not a lot of mandatory carries, and I love that. Really love that as part of this golf course.
Just a couple things. Who are a couple of your favorite players to work with, you know, past or present?
Well, you know, Rocco Mediate, how can you not say, of all guys and personalities, how fun he was over the years? And certainly you get different personalities, and Rocco was probably the most fun. I think about, you know, Phil Mickelson, obviously a dear friend, and, you know, one of the greatest players that have ever played the game, top 10 for sure that's ever played, and to be part of his career, you know, winning all those major championships was special. Lee Janzen, winning a couple US Opens with him, I'll never forget that. And those things kind of launched my career many years ago.
Final question. What is there a golf story, a PGA story you can tell? I mean, it's even if you got to make a name anonymous, it was kind of cute, kind of funny. I'm sure you've seen and heard and done and whatever else.
Well, I mean, I think some of the funny things is just a funny story. I remember we were back on like the 5th hole, and one of the players.
What course?
Went at it. This was on a major championship. I think it was Baltusrol, and one of the players went into the storage area or into the bathroom or portalette, and in the meantime, the players thought that person, the player, went into the one portalette, and all of a sudden they started hitting 5-irons at the portalette, and it's pelting this, and all of a sudden this door opens and it's a lady walking out and says, "What is going on here?" And all the guys felt so bad, and they realized that they hit the wrong person in the portalette. So imagine standing in that and getting pelted with golf balls, not knowing what is going on, whether you thought it was a hailstorm coming in or what. But you know, there's always funny things that happen, always.
Well, Rick Smith, we'd like to thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.